Very much. Our next guest represented the family of Terri Schiavo in some similar issues. You may remember that case. Her family wanted her kept alive on a feeding tube over the objections of her husband. Here now with me is Father Frank Pavone, the National Director of Priests for Life. Father Frank, welcome. Good to have you here.
Good to be with you again.
Obviously, it's such a sad story, and your heart just breaks for this family and what they're going through. You know, why won't the hospital allow them to take the baby off of the breathing tube, have the tracheotomy done, because apparently there is another hospital who would perform that surgery, and then they could bring the baby home?
And that's exactly our question, because the issue here is, you know, medical boards and medical institutions should give us medical information, not value judgments on the child's life. It seems to me that's what's happening here, because they admitted the tracheotomy would give the baby additional months to live, as happened with their other child. So the question here is, how much say does a family, in the case of a baby, have about how they want to care for that baby? How much, it extends to all of us, how much do we as patients, when we're in situations where decisions have to be made, how much do we have to say? Or does the doctor always have the last and absolute word? That really is the cultural issue.
You would think that the parents could just say, you know, we want our child. We're going to take our child home, and we're going to have someone else perform this procedure, because they did that procedure with their daughter, who tragically had the same condition, and they were able to have her at home with them and die, as they say, you know, in the way that they believe God wanted to take that child.
And we're ready to help them to make that happen, by the way. We've been negotiating with some doctors here in the States, with some other institutions, and we even have a plane standing by to bring this baby to one of those institutions.
Do you have a doctor who would perform the tracheotomy on this baby?
Well, we're negotiating with several of them right now, and we already have transportation lined up. So, you know, again, it's a question for us all. You mentioned about the Terri Schiavo case, and I was kneeling there by her bed as she was dying. She had been deprived of water for almost 2 weeks. And as I moved my hand to touch her head, inches away from her head was a vase of flowers filled with water. The absurdity of it is exactly, again, what we're seeing now. We're not saying, by the way, that you always have to keep people alive. That's not what this is about. What we're saying is that you make the right judgment, but the right judgment is not a matter of numbers and medical opinions. There are such things as worthless treatments, but there's no such thing as a worthless life.
What do you make of the fact that the hospital, as Eric Sean reported, the hospital says that numerous attempts have been made to allow the baby to breathe spontaneously on its own, and that those attempts have failed? That's
fine. I mean, the parents, and all of us really, accept the inevitability of death. And if that's going to be the case, you know, the child can be removed from the breathing tube, but there are different ways of removing the tube. You can just pull the tube off, or you can wean them off. And the parents are saying, look, just give us our child. We want to get some additional opinions, but let us care for the child even until he dies.
All right. Dr. Frank Pavone, thank you very much. It's such a difficult story, and we wish the family all the best.
We sure do.
Thanks to you for helping.
Thank you.
Kar-kri.
Tata, Uli, Habibi. Oh, monsieur. Hi, baby. Are you sleepy? Are you sleepy? Yeah, I like being tickled.
Yeah, he doesn't like to be cold.
You don't like to be tickled, do you? Okay, I'll leave you alone. Okay, I'll leave you alone.
Could it all be a bad dream or a nightmare? Is it my imagination, or have we lost our minds? It's surreal. It's just not believable. A grand absurdity, a great deception, a delusion of momentous proportions. Based on preposterous notions and on ideas whose time should never have come. Simplicity, grossly distorted and complicated. Insanity, passed off as logic. Grandiose schemes built on falsehoods with the morality of Ponzi and Madoff. Evil described as virtue. Ignorance pawned off as wisdom. Destruction and impoverishment in the name of humanitarianism. Violence, the tool of change. Preventive wars used as a road to peace. Tolerance delivered by government guns. Reactionary views in the guise of progress. An empire replacing the republic. Slavery sold as liberty. Excellence and virtue traded for mediocrity. Socialism to save capitalism. A government out of control.